all he ever wanted to do was to kill his girlfriend Jews, which sounds terrible, but is actually kind of sweet because she's just been going through these.
No.
Kirsten. He wants to end her
All he ever
suffering.
wanted to do was kill his girlfriend.
Which is actually kind of sweet. No.
The bar is on the floor, okay? This man wants to save his girlfriend by murdering her. I'm like, that sounds adorable. I'll take it.
I get that.
Thank you, Tom.
You know, there's other ways to show you care. Hello, welcome to Bite Me Fanboy, a comics podcast. I'm Kate.
I'm Tom.
I'm Jordan.
And I'm Kirsten.
And today is part 2 of our 2-part series on the manga Undead Unluck, written and illustrated by Yoshifumi Tozuka. And I will be throwing to Kirsten for the summary for part 2.
Okay. Part 2 of 2. Okay, so last we left off, we were fist bumping Anno, the author who made the manga that foretells everything that's happening. And it's really sad because nobody can see Anno, but Andy's like, here's a fist bump. I'm sure you're out there. And magically he is. So, then they're like, cool, we defeated Autumn. Now we're going to go fight Summer. Summer is in Taipei. And so they head over there. Shen and Mui, yeah, that's her name. They're already there, and they haven't really been able to defeat Summer. They haven't been able to get close. And Summer has like a bunch of bugs surrounding them.
Have we explained who Mui is?
No.
I don't think so.
No. So Mui is Shen's like counterpart. She's not a negator, but she is like another martial artist, and Shen really likes her. At first you believe in a familial way. It could still be a familial way.
Well, it depends on the anime.
So first you see Shen and Mui. They're waiting to fight Summer. Summer has like a bunch of like centipedes surrounding him. And then you get a flashback to Shen's sad backstory, where you learn that him and his little sister grew up like poor, and he constantly had to like fight for money to get his sister nice things, and they're not living the best of lives.
I think almost all of the union members, they all have tragic backstories, right?
Yeah, no. Everything is sad for them, unfortunately.
It's a prerequisite.
Yeah, I'd agree to that. So you see his tragic backstory, and then you see so Shen was fighting one day, and this like kung fu master sees him, and he's like, hey, you've got great potential. I want to adopt you, or have you join my little kung fu cult dojo, whatever you want to call it.
I was going to say, when you think positively about it, it's a dojo. When you don't, it's a cult. I think that's the rule.
So he learns martial arts, he does all these things, and like meanwhile in the story you're flipping back and forth between like present tense where Shen, Mui, and Andy and Fuko are all fighting Summer's like centipede looking things. And during this you see this guy from Billy's group pop up, and he's like, he doesn't really talk much. At one point they do mention like he can only speak Chinese, which I mean I guess is good for Shen, and nobody really knows who or what he is, but he pops up and he starts fighting them. Then you flip back to his past and like you see him living at his dojo cult, and eventually like his sister starts training with him as well. And then you eventually find out, and this is the part I didn't really understand, was how she died, but the dojo master like had them fight against each other.
Mm-hmm.
And then how did she die?
So his powers manifested. So she had gotten kicked off of a cliff, and he had grabbed onto her to keep her from falling and dying. But his powers make whoever like he's fighting or he can see do the opposite of what they're trying to do.
That's
So
right.
when his powers manifested, she was trying to hold on, which made her let go.
Okay. Yes, I do remember this now.
Shen's power is opposite day.
Oh, yeah. So, his sister is dead. It's super sad. But she's dead mostly because the Kung Fu master had them fight each other, right? And that's the crux of the issue, and then his powers manifesting. So, during this fight, you actually realize that Shen is fighting his old Kung Fu master the entire time. Somehow, this old man has now become a young dude. And now they're just kicking each other's ass. And they're going at it like, I don't know. This feels very a la Dragon Ball Z, where they're like, I just want to be the strongest and fight the strongest people.
I'll be
or
honest,
maybe like,
Kirsten, this whole
yeah.
manga feels like Dragon Ball Z to me.
So, Kung Fu Master tries to steal and kill Mui, who is, as you find out, like, she kind of starts out as like Shen's substitute sister, which is, super terrible. But then, like, in the manga at least, it feels like they kind of like have a thing, or at least Mui has a thing for Shen. So they're fighting. He's about to kill Mui. Shen jumps in front of her, and then Shen dies, right? And we're like, what the fuck? I thought he had plot armor. This didn't seem like a depressing Jujutsu Kaisen everybody dies type of thing, right?
Is that a spoiler?
I was going to say spoiler for Jujutsu Kaisen.
Or Attack on Titan.
Spoilers for Attack on Titan. Do we want to keep doing this?
So earlier in the fight, if we roll back time a little bit, you realize that at the beginning of the fight with Shen's ex Kung Fu master, that the Kung Fu master had beads, and man, that I just had a terrible thought come in my head, and I need to share it with you guys later. So it's not a now thing. It's not a now thing.
Listen, it's just a but you. I don't know what you mean. It's a homoerotic fight between two men and a string of beads. I don't know what you could be possibly
Thank you, Tom.
meaning.
Thank you for also seeing them and being like, "Is that anal beads? They really look like anal beads. Is this what's happening right now?" It 100% looks like anal beads, and that's like 1,000% what I thought it was in the beginning.
As I've said before, and I'll say again, my mom listens to this. I'm so sorry, Mom.
Oh no. I'm sorry, Tom's mom. Okay. Anyways, he uses, oh god, whatever. He uses his anal beads in order to resurrect the old Kung Fu masters that he's murdered, and they're now like his, they call them like, what are they called? Jiangshi?
Jiangshi.
Jiangshi.
It's a folkloric creature from China, known colloquially as the hopping ghost, because rigor mortis prevents them from walking normally. They are sometimes used for horror and sometimes used for comedy, but they are like a well-known... the way zombies are to American zombie movie fiction, Jiangshi are kind of their own folkloric character that is a genre unto themselves. And in some cases, the Jiangshi are servants of people, like the original Haitian zombie. Other times, they're monsters that raise from the dead. I have not seen Encounters of the Spooky Kind recently, so I'd need to rewatch to know what that one is. But that's the one, whenever I think of Jiangshi, I think of Encounters of the Spooky Kind, which is a Sammo Hung comedy.
Yeah, because, I mean, they hop after you is what you're saying, right?
Yes, and there's a way to depict it seriously and a way to depict it very silly. And that's why Sammo Hung has them be silly.
So, he has Jiangshi martial artists that he's defeated and murdered, trapped in the beads. Now that we've got that out of the way, Shen gets, like, punched in the chest, stomach area. So, Mui's like, oh my god, we need to fix you. You're clearly dying. I've brought so many artifacts. Surely one can fix you. And, like, I know this is terrible, but this made me laugh so hard. Shen's like, how are you gonna fix me? those things, in order to fix me, I would have to digest them, and I clearly don't have a stomach anymore. He just has a gaping hole in his stomach. And, like, I know it's terrible, but for some reason it made me chuckle. I'm like, that's the most practical thing I've seen in a manga ever. So he's like, hey, bestie, could you please just kill me? And one of her buddies grabs the anal beads, throws them at her, and then she, like, stabs him with a sword. And then he just, like, pops out of nowhere. Apparently he's blue. He's now blue with a little paper thing over his face, and now he's, like, enslaved to Mui. And so Shen had the ability of untruth. But in this world, whenever one of the negators dies, the power gets passed to somebody else. So in this case, it gets passed to Mui. And so now she's inherited it. And so with the power of untruth and Shen being blue and everything else, they defeat Shen's old martial art cult leader. Looking at him, the guy looks like a cult leader. I gotta tell you.
I'm gonna just say, for in real life, those beads, I believe, the way I've always heard of them is called Jop Mala, or just Mala. So those are Mala beads, just for reference.
One thing that I don't think we mentioned, so we had mentioned last episode that someone on Rip's team had used an artifact in order to de-age him. We find out that it is the Master who has used it when he de-aged Rip. He also de-aged himself 150 years is what they said. And Fuko is like, wait, what? So this is how, when he's fighting Shin, they're about the same age.
I thought the age got transferred to the person who made the request, and that's why Ano aged up and, like, became dust.
Yes, and it multiplies it by 10. So it was a 15-year change, which is why Ano's clone turned to dust. But then when this guy was de-aging Rip, when Rip was about to be killed, it also de-aged him.
And then now that the side character anal bead holder is incapacitated for now, Summer has decided to evolve into his second phase and is now like a giant snake floating about. They rather quickly defeat Summer. They do this like cool, like, they make him into like a coil type of thing, and then untouchable Tatiana like goes up inside of the middle of it and then like pops off her seal and then makes it explode. So it was pretty quick, you know, not too much fuss. And then they, I don't know, Shen takes his
super
little
easy,
martial
barely
arts
an
buddy.
inconvenience.
Yeah, no scratches at all. So all of a sudden, it starts snowing and like the world's getting colder, and they're like, "Holy crap, what's going on? What is happening here?" And that is when Apocalypse, the smart-ass book,
I love him.
explains to them that, like, hey, you just killed off a couple of seasons. Like, what did you think was going to happen? Like, yeah, the world's, like, going a bit haywire right now.
So this is the point where I got angry because by the rules of the game, they're losing anyway. And that just made me angry because it's a no-win game.
Yes.
And it makes sense for, like, the gods of this world. It just made me angry. And I'm like, oh, I see why they want to kill God. This makes sense.
It's the game was to quote Matthew Perry, the game was rigged from the start.
So they go meet up with, I mess up her name every time, Juice,
like juice.
Like apple.
Or orange.
Juice. Okay.
So at this point, has she faced off with Billy?
Yes, she has faced off with Billy. She has already lost an arm, but 'tis only a scratch. And then they teleport using a move to get to where Juice is. And they're like, cool, now we gotta kick Summer's ass. Not Summer, Winter's ass. And then Billy is there. Billy, the betrayer, who is magically stealing everybody's powers. They don't really know what's happening just yet.
A betrayer. I believe in him.
They don't
Okay, Tatiana.
know that yet. Right now, they kind of hate him. Most people
Well,
hate him.
Not me.
Some people hate him. So yeah, the Winter fight hardly happens at all. Like it's like, oh, Winter's dead. Burn took care of him. Done. Really, the big thing is like Billy betrayed them, took Juice's arm, and kind of sucks, and made Tatiana sad.
yeah, because at this point, like, so they had taken the table, and then in order to like save the world, doesn't Billy say, "Hey, we're still not going to kill Winter unless you give us Fuko"?
Yes. And then Fuka's like, cool, I'll just go with you, whatever. Yeah, so they have everybody at the table. They're doing all the things. They're being besties, not really.
A couple of them, the bunny girl is friends with them or likes Fuko because she like her power is just to absorb things, right? So like at one point she disarms people by like absorbing their weapons into her like little bunny suit.
I don't know what. Actually, I don't know what she does. I've watched her for a while. Like, if we could just take this out for a moment. When she, like, absorbs God for a second, like, what is she doing? What is that? What is her power?
I think she can just like absorb and hold things.
I mean, isn't that basically what Gina did, though? I'm looking her up. Unback. What the crap is this?
She has the power to reverse her mix-a-lot.
So I took it as like give it back. So like she can take things away.
Untakesies backsies.
It says the finer details are unknown, but this ability seems to turn or trap objects into eggs, making them incapable of backing out from them.
She's an Easter bunny.
Oh God.
That does make a whole lot more sense.
She puts you in an egg. She puts you in the Easter egg.
What a weird power.
Can you imagine getting that power? My day would be ruined.
I don't like it.
Do you think she chose to wear the bunny suit, or is that part of the power?
Okay, so the wiki says it's an egg-shaped bunny costume, and she can't exit it because of her powers.
Oh.
She can't back out of it.
She can't exit it?
Oh, no.
No.
Yeah.
I will say one of the things that I like about how this comic handles Andy and Fuko splitting up is that it's Andy believes in her versus a lot of them are like, oh no, it's so terrible. We don't know if we're going to survive. And he's like, no, she's got this. I mean, yeah, I'm worried a little bit because I can't like necessarily help her too much. But I mean, she's got this. And I appreciate that.
That is one of my favorite tropes if we are reading a romance or some type of romantic subplot. The guy or like partner or whatever believes in their other partner and believes in like their competency to handle situations.
So, at this point, Billy has stolen Fuko and the round table. And Billy's like, yo, Fuko, you're the only one who can defeat Spring, but not as you are, so we're going to steal you as we... So, Billy and Under drive around in a orca. That is their go-to mode of transportation. So, they're like, we're gonna go into our submarine orca. Like, it's a literal orca. It's an Uma orca.
Like it's a UMA, but it looks like an orca, and the way it's introduced is when they're in the storyline previously where they first meet him, the whale pulls up by the cruise liner they're on and spits the people out onto the deck. It's very silly, and I kind of love how silly it is.
The I thought was sillier in this was the fact that Fuko's room has windows that just open to look into the orca. I'm like, why?
Because the orca swallowed a building.
Yeah, but is that better or worse? The fact that like you have a window but it opens to nothing? Is that worse than just not having a window?
Yeah.
I mean, she's a prisoner. I think she's just like taking what she can get at this point. I mean, they gave her all her manga back, so she's got stuff to do. So anyways, so she's inside a whale, Jonah style.
I've seen that VeggieTales movie.
Right?
Andy and Fuko meet the pirates who don't do anything.
Yes, crossover event of the season.
Here's the thing. Andy has the energy of a character who really will unironically sing one of the silly songs with Larry. He
This is
looks like
true.
that.
Yes, he does.
He's going around singing the Water Buffalo song.
Exactly.
Hell yeah.
I mean, Victor's not singing the Where Is My Hairbrush song with anyone.
True. True.
So it's a couple things happen. Like Fuko is reading her manga, trying to figure out how she can get stronger and also how to defeat Spring. And then she tries to escape one time. It doesn't work out. She escapes through the blowhole of the orca, and then they capture her again. And then she gets thrown at Spring. And then we're at Spring, and Spring is just sitting on his cute little tower, hanging out, just awaiting, vibing, if you will.
I think Spring is the only one we really get like a backstory on, right?
Yes. None of the other Umas are cute or sad in the way that Spring is.
Well, maybe they are sad, but they just don't talk about it. They need to talk about it with their friends.
Mm-hmm. And I'm like, Spring felt valid to me. I'm like, all he wanted to do was make pretty things for people and play games with people, and everyone was so mean to him. I mean, it's very much the, well, you keep saying I'm an evil demon, fine. If you really want an evil demon, I'll show you an evil demon.
Yeah, it's the same plot as Shrek.
Okay, so they're climbing a tower. I'm sure it's Tokyo Tower. But they're climbing up a tower. Billy's taking Fuko up there so that she can defeat Spring. Andy has fought all of Billy's minions and is now coming to get Fuko. On the way up to the tower, because he had to have like a flashback of his life, he realizes that he loves Fuko. And she's no longer just somebody who can murder him. He now actually loves her. And he screams it at the top of his lungs, to which, like in all good shoujo romances, she doesn't hear him. So she knows nothing about this. You know, he kicks Billy's ass. Billy also has the power of undead, so it doesn't, like, go over super easy. But eventually, like, he kicks Billy's ass. And then they get to the top of the tower to where Spring is lurking. And Spring is, like, up there with his cool little umbrella, his Gato sandals, and just, you know, waiting for somebody to play games with him. And so Fuko's like, hey, you know, I just want to talk with you. I don't want to fight you. I just feel like you're a sad guy. And then he goes into his sad backstory, which we have discussed earlier, but I could discuss again if we need to.
Yeah, that was in a earlier version of this podcast. Let's explain his backstory.
Okay.
It was an earlier loop. Just
see what
like,
you did
There we
there.
go.
yeah, just like what happened here.
You got Spring. He was once a little guy, just a head, if you will, and he was like the demon of cherry blossoms, but back in the day in Japan, they saw cherry blossoms as like an omen of misfortune, and also like being just a demon with only a head, like he wasn't the most popular. So he got chased out of villages. The humans didn't like him. He tried to collect toys for them to convince them to play with him. And even then, the humans were like, nah, we don't want anything to do with you. They kept running him out of town. So he escaped up into the mountains. He's super sad. And then this guy comes up there, and his name is Ishin. And he is, I think he's a samurai. Or a blacksmith. I think they're blacksmiths. One or the other. Maybe both. But Ishin becomes buddies with Spring, and he's like, look, man, here's what we're going to do, because I love the cherry blossoms. I'm going to lead my guys into this bloodless war, and then you are going to make the cherry blossoms spring, and then we'll tell everybody that this is actually a good omen, and then they will love the cherry blossoms and everybody will be good. And they do this. So Fuko is trying to like appeal to his good nature and be like, hey, you know, back in the day, you liked humans, you know, we can hang out and play. And the Spring is like, no, we're just gonna play. But he's actually like not trying to hurt her. So the first game they play is their Beyblade style spinning tops. So Spring chooses Andy, of course, because Andy can't die. Fuko decides that she's going to go with Ishin, a.k.a. Unbreakable, because she's like, surely Unbreakable isn't going to break as a top, right? Turns out Unbreakable is super scared of everything and is kind of a coward. And so you have this dramatic arc where Ishin, aka Unbreakable, has to like find their inner strength and become like less coward like. And it turns into a draw. Nobody actually wins. But, you know, Ishin is less cowardly, and she had her cute, like, growing up moment with Fuko. So that was cute.
And she also triggers Spring's memory.
Right, because she reminds him of the first Ishin, who was his friend back in the day. And so Spring is about to have an epiphany. He's about to be like, oh my god, I love humans. But then God is like, not today, Satan, and makes him involve and kind of like suppresses his memories. So, next step in his evolution, he's like, what we're going to do is we're going to play with these cards. And the cards are like poems or riddles for different people in your group, right? And weirdly enough, like he's chosen this because it's all people that Fuko knows. So she's going to know the answers, which Billy politely points out. First card pops up, they read it, and Fuko's like, I immediately know who this is. Runs over to go find the matching card to the riddle. And because Spring is now become like a giant, he sees where Fuko's running and just punches her out of the way and takes the card from her. They do this a couple times, so they're trying to get to the best of 13. So Andy is like, hey Fuko, all you gotta do is like fake him out and he'll grab the card before you, and that's all you gotta do. But Fuko doesn't listen to him because she has decided that she's going to get through to Spring. And how she's going to do that is she's going to keep running after the correct cards. Spring is going to keep punching her, thereby touching her, which is going to trigger her unluck. But she's getting pretty fucked up in the process. Eventually, the unluck triggers, and Spring is all of a sudden not able to touch the cards or move. And, you know, she explains that this is because her power works best when it affects people that she loves. And Spring is like, you could never love an Uma. And she's like, no, I actually love you, Spring. You're the best. Your story really endeared me to you. I could never hate you. And that's how her unluck makes it super good for her. But then God is like, well, fuck you again. Not today, Satan. And put Spring... So the Umas are only supposed to go through 2 phases. Phase 1 is like an okay Uma. Phase 2 is like a badass Uma. And then Spring goes into phase 3, which like wipes away any kindness he has for humans. He's very grumpy, but like inside his core is just this little guy who just wants to help Fuko because she's been nice to him and he just wants a friend to play with. So she's now got to travel to the core to play this last game with him so that she can win and defeat Spring. So they have a fight. Fuko is able to get inside like his heart area, core area, whatever you want to call it. And she sees this little guy and he's so cute and he's holding like, you know, the cup you use for like Yahtzee?
Mm-hmm.
Dump it out? Okay.
Yeah.
Okay, cool. Like the little cup you use for Yahtzee, and he's just like holding it so sad, and he's like, please, I just want to play one more game, and I know I'm gonna lose because of your unluck, but that's okay, because I'm happy to lose. And it's very sad. I know I'm not describing it well, but like...
I was gonna say, it turns into the end of Inscription. Where the games fall. You've not played
It's
Inscription.
a video game.
But the game is falling apart, but the NPC who plays against you is just like, you know, at this point, I'm just happy to have someone around to play with.
Okay, so the Union members are able to, like, hack open Evil Spring so that Fuko can get to his core, And she's like, come on, we're gonna get out of here. And so she grabs him up. He's just like a basketball type thing, right? Like he's just a little guy. And they go to have so in Japan they have viewings underneath the sakura blossoms, and it's like a whole thing. They have like a picnic under them, and that's what they do for spring. They just have like a little party. It's so cute. They're drinking sake and like having a good time and just like showing Spring like how much they like his cherry blossoms. And so Spring is like, I'm so happy, I think it's time. And so while everybody's like, mostly Fuko, is sobbing, she rolls the dice. Their game was just guessing if it's odd or even. And Spring guesses what it is. Of course it's wrong. And then he just dies. And he's sad. But like also, he died happy. So it's cute. Mm-hmm. Less cute. Now they're all celebrating, right? They're like, we did it. We did all the quests. We did the thing. It's great. Andy is reminiscing about how much he loves Fuko and like how much he's changed his life. And then Fuko gets stabbed in the chest by this random guy that pops up. He is Unruin. We don't really know much about him other than like he can't be killed. So Fuko's dead now, but that's not it is a spoiler, but not really. Fuko's dead. So everybody's freaking out. They're like, oh my god, she's losing blood. We don't have the tools we need to save her right here. We're out in the middle of nowhere, in the middle of Tokyo. What are we going to do? And so Andy's fighting Unruin. Unruin just like disappears into the night. And he's like, cool, I did my job, murdered her, I'm out. Jews, because as you find out, she has done these loops over and over again. So she knows what Umas are going to be set free next. So she's like, hey, let's get her back to the Union. Let's get her back to the Round Table. Things are going to happen. And like, that's how we're going to save her. So Andy's got her body and they show up to the Round Table, and Apocalypse starts talking, and he's like, hey, for doing all this, we're going to add the Uma ghost. So the Uma ghost shows up. He also looks like a sad little guy, but he's kind of a dick. So don't be fooled by that. And Fuko's soul kind of like leaves her body, and she's just floating about. And they're like, oh my god, Fuko, we can save you. But they can't touch her, right? Because she's a ghost. And then Ghost is like, wow, I got a buddy. And she probably tastes great, so I can eat her later. See, Ghost is a dick. And he steals her away. Andy can't do anything because she's a ghost. He's not.
He spirits her away?
Oh, yeah, he does. So, Ghost steals her. Ghost is like, hey, something's happening over here. I sense a lot of death on the horizon. And he shows up, and Unruin has just like murdered a bunch of people. And he's like, hey, I thought you'd want some breakfast since you just woke up and all. And I got stuff for you. And he's like, hey, but just do me a favor since we're besties now. Can you just eat that girl that you've got trapped in your hands? I don't really like her. She's annoying me. Ghost is like, but I was gonna save her for later because she's the best. So he doesn't eat her, which is good for us. But she does disappear into the night with Ghost, and Andy is distraught. He cannot save her. Unruin has disappeared. But at the very last moment, he reached out for Fuko and touched her ghostly hand, right? But he felt it, and he's like, hey, I felt it. That means I might have some of her unluck. And then like he explodes or something, like a meteor drops down. I don't know. No, it's definitely a meteor. Sorry, I just saw it. It's definitely a meteor. Meteor Part 2 drops down, hits Andy. Andy's head goes flying, and he's like, oh my god, she's still alive. This proves it. He's like, I'm gonna go get her back. This is gonna be awesome. So that is their next mission, is that they've got to go get her. But turns out, because they kind of like fucked up the seasons by murdering 3 of them, that has sent the Earth into a tailspin, literally like kind of heading towards the sun. But also, if they hadn't killed the seasons, Uma Revolution was going to be added, and Uma Revolution was also going to plunge them into the sun. So they realized like there was no winning here. They were just doomed from the start.
Because God is a dick.
Because God is in fact a dick. So they're like, cool, well, we need to get Fuko back, and we need to like somehow either stop Ragnarok, or Jews is just like giving up at this point. She's like, we got to prepare for the next timeline. So Lucy's mom has been...
Oh, this poor child.
Yeah, it's not a good time for Lucy. Lucy is already like sick, and then her mom basically gets turned into like a vampire type situation. It's whatever Ruin does to the people. But town, instead of having like big Umas, they have like what Andy is calling juniors. So I think they're just like baby Umas. It's not really ever explained. But they're also all attacking people. They kind of look like lampreys or like cookie cutter sharks coming after people.
I'm loving the cookie cutter shark pull. Like, that is a very specific animal.
I mean,
you're right. It's just such a specific animal.
I love them because they just leave like such a specific mark.
Yeah.
Sorry, I like the weird little guys. So Andy rescues Lucy. You find out that Andy is going on a rampage to like murder all the Umas. He's going after Fuko, and he's taking out everything that's trying to stop him. So like he is just murdering Umas left and right. And if you recall, Umas are the rules, and so whenever he kills one, he's destroying their rules. So like the first one they do is Thirst, and that's the only one they commit to in this manga, because he also kills Gravity. And I'm like, why aren't we floating? Wouldn't there just be no gravity? Like, wouldn't we all float? That kind of bothered me. Okay, whatever. So this mummy-looking guy shows up. His name is Seal. And he has been sent by God. And he's like, hey, you can't be doing this to rules. We have rules for a reason. I'm going to basically, like, absorb all the Umas. And I'm going to use their powers. And he wraps them up in, like, mummy spider cocoons and kind of absorbs them into himself. And he does the same. He eventually gets Andy and Lucy as well. So they're now stuck inside of him. But right before Andy gets absorbed, Andy notices that Seal sneezes. And he's like, that's weird. What's happening there? And then he gets absorbed and he's like, huh, this is interesting. And he sees Lucy, and Lucy explains like, oh yeah, if you can just like, we're stuck here and we're just like in a cocoon waiting to be like used for our powers or eaten. I don't know. And she's like, but if you touch this like giant glowy thing at the top of our like cavern that we're in, you can affect Seal, because Andy observes that like the Umas are getting thrown up against the glowy thing, which is probably like his soul now that I'm saying it. And then their powers are manifesting through Seal. But Lucy, because she's been sick for so long and because she like is normally bedbound, she has stumbled upon the ability of astral projection. She was like, yeah, I used to like try to imagine myself places, and then one day like my soul just left its body. And she says it very casually, but Andy's like, oh, that must be when Ghost showed up.
She has the power of dissociation.
Well, she's got the power of unhealthy, is what she's got. So
power unhealthy.
Yeah, so she's just sick constantly. Like, she's never getting better. So Andy's like, you got to show me how you do this. And she's like, cool. So she just astral projects to the glowy thing, touches it, and then Seal starts sneezing. And he's like, oh my god, this is great. This is how we do this. So the way she said that she learned how to do this wasn't that, like, she did, like, picture being elsewhere, but she read a lot of Peter Pan as a kid. And she was like, that's I used to imagine that like I was part of Peter Pan's group, and that's how I like disassociated from my sucky life. You're absolutely right, Tom. And then like she was like, one day I just became Peter Pan, and I just floated out of my body, and that's how it happened. So she does this by picturing like the happiest thing that could happen to her, and for her it would be like being free and flying around like Peter Pan. And Andy does the same, but his thing is that he wants to grow old. And so he becomes an old guy, and it's really cute. And then that's how he learns how to astral project as an old man. They're eventually able to escape Seal via astral projection. Their souls just kind of like leave. And Seal has met up with Ruin, the other bad guy in this, and they're slowly becoming frenemies, saying like, well, we're both chosen by God, but I also hate you.
They're negators who are specifically sent in to take out the other negators by the god of this universe.
Yes, that's a good way of putting it. So Lucy and Andy show up. They start kicking ass. But then because Ruin's there, Ruin has collected like a bunch of his like zombie vampire hybrid situation from this town that Lucy was living in. And one of them happens to be Lucy's mom. And so her mom is like already far gone, right? Like her mom's already done the vampire thing. She's got like nothing in the eyes, but Lucy's just a kid. And she's like, I can't believe you would do this to a mom. You know, she's my parent. I love her. And Ruin like just can't comprehend that. And does he kill her mom? No, he gets close. No, he doesn't kill her mom because Rip shows up. He gets really close. Lucy is a poor kid. You were absolutely right, Jordan, because like she's unhealthy. She's been stuck inside of a mummy, and like now her mom has almost died, or maybe dead via vampirism, which they don't really explain. But Rip shows up, and Rip saves the day. And if you'll remember, Rip is unrepair. And he has like special metal legs, and he shows up with a special metal arm, just randomly. So Rip and Andy are able to fight Ruin and Seal, and they're able to drive them off. And Andy, once they do that, Andy's like, you know what, man, thank you so much. I knew you were one of the good guys. And Rip is like, ha ha ha, not today, Satan. I'm actually one of the bad guys. And he attacks Andy. And then we learn about Rip's super depressing backstory, which is Rip and his buddy, I was calling her Latla. Does that all sound right to us?
Latla or is it? There's an I in there.
Well, there's
there?
Layla, and then her sister Latla. Latla.
This is why you name your kids normal things, by the way. Don't name your kids Layla and Latla.
Depends on what language you're in and what time period as to what's considered normal.
Yeah, but if you give your kids the same name twice, at best you're going to have some confusion. At worst, you're going to have them not call you.
So, Latla is, of course, the girl that hangs around Rip. Rip is, of course, the guy that has metal legs and is unrepair. Layla is Latla's sister and, like, Rip's first love. So when Layla was a kid, she was very sick. It sounds like she had like a heart condition or something. And like Rip he was like, cool, I'm going to heal you and I'm going to save your life. I'm going to be like the world's best surgeon, right? We all see where this is going. And so Rip studies super hard. He becomes like the youngest doctor in his country. Latla becomes a psychic, which isn't explained super well. But initially, all her predictions were 100% accurate. So, day of the surgery comes. Latla's like, this is the perfect day. It's going to be great. Rip is like, Layla, I'm going to save you. They have a cute kiss moment. And day that he performs the surgery is the day that both Latla and Rip get their powers. And of course, because Rip's is unrepair and he was doing the surgery, she started bleeding out and he couldn't fix it. And so she died because of him. And so he's a bit fucked up over that. Also, it explains like why Rip has like that stupid thing over his face. And it's because Rip cut himself with a scalpel that day and over his eye. And like it's never stopped bleeding. So he's just got like a fucked up eye. So now Rip has come back to kill Andy and possibly Fuko. Well, Fuko's already dead, so I guess just Andy. And he's like, hey, I'm gonna ride the Ark. And as we know, the Ark is the thing that Jews rides on, and it takes her back through the loops in order to try again. And Rip wants to use the Ark to be able to go back to the day where Layla's surgery happened, and he wants to have somebody else do the surgery, like convince somebody else to do it and walk them through it, so that when his powers manifest, he doesn't hurt Layla. Well, Andy's like, he doesn't initially want to kill Rip because Fuko wouldn't want him to kill Rip, but the more he thinks about it, he's like, well, this guy's never going to give up because he likes his girl. I'm also never going to give up because I like my girl. In this situation, Latla decides to sacrifice herself for Rip because she's got a huge crush on him by holding Andy and being like, you can hit him in the brain, because Rip, even though he's a surgeon and not a neurosurgeon, knows like where to put a scalpel in Andy's brain in order to manipulate him. So he's like, well, I just got to stab him in the brain and then like fiddle with it, and then I can make him do the thing. So Latla sacrifices herself by holding Andy still, and in the process, Rip stabs Latla, and now he's killed both sisters. Sucks. That's why he's called Rip, I guess.
I think he's called Rip because he rips people.
I was going with murder.
Well, yeah, so he uses a scalpel, which if you're looking at like Jack the Ripper, then a lot of people still think that he was in the medical trade because of the cuts and everything that he would do to his victims. And so he's often depicted as someone with a scalpel, even though that's not actually, there's no proof or evidence to actually support that. So
while Andy's brain is slowly trying to piece itself back together, he has like a little heart-to-heart with Victor, and Victor shows him that like all he ever wanted to do was to kill his girlfriend Jews, which sounds terrible, but is actually kind of sweet because she's just been going through these
No.
Kirsten. He wants to end her
All he ever
suffering.
wanted to do was kill his girlfriend.
Which is actually kind of sweet.
No.
The bar is on the floor, okay? This man wants to save his girlfriend by murdering her. I'm like, that sounds adorable. I'll take it.
I get that.
Thank you, Tom.
You know, there's other ways to show you care.
Okay, so whatever. Victor wants to kill his girlfriend. I find it cute because, like, she's just been watching her friends die over and over again. She's depressed. He's depressed for her. He just wants her to, like, finally kick the bucket.
But from Juice's, like, she can fix it. She is convinced she can fix it, and he is now in her way and preventing her from fixing it. So he is now the problem.
Maybe Juice has just run into the sunk cost fallacy. You know, she's done this so many times that, like, it's gonna really, like, eat at her if she doesn't keep doing it. You know, and she just needs somebody to murder her so she doesn't do it again.
Well, but then someone else has to do it, or they start back from square one. And then it's not sunk cost in this case because she keeps getting a little bit closer and a little bit closer.
We're gonna have to agree to disagree. Okay. Victor, he's convincing Andy, like, hey, you need to let her die. Andy realizes that, like, Rip is never going to give things up. Andy can't give things up, and to like, really, like, do the thing and get Fuko back, he's just gonna have to become, like, in his words, a god of death. And, like, he straight up murks Rip and Latla. But he lays them on the roof together so that they can die together, which is also kind of cute because the bar is on the floor. So, that happens. Now, Seal and Ruin are two baddies. They are heading towards the Union because they're going to go destroy the Ark so that the Negators can't try this again and defeat them. Meanwhile, Ghost has done a terrible thing. Ghost has gone to Nico, and now we learn Nico's tragic story, which is Ghost showed him his wife, and Nico's wife died. So Nico has the ability of unforget, and his wife was unsleep, so she couldn't sleep. So if you're familiar with familial insomnia, it eventually kills you. So Nico gained his ability of unforgetting, like, right when his wife died. Like, so he can never forget, like, his wife's face as she died, but he can't really remember anything else. And he's like, I just want to see her again. This is really bad. I just need to save my wife. Nico wants to ride the Ark in order to save his wife. So, of course, Andy now has to kill Nico, even though he's a member of the Union, because Nico has the same drive to save his girl that Andy has. So we're just sad all around.
Here's how you protect yourself from this. You build a wall using the bodies of dead girlfriends.
Yeah? Tom, you
There's
okay?
just
Don't encourage this,
many
Kirsten.
dead girlfriend backstories.
So is the wall just made of refrigerators?
Yeah, exactly.
I mean, in this case, wasn't the wall made out of cylinders holding people's bodies?
Yeah.
And Andy destroyed all the cylinders, therefore destroying all of Nico's good memories of his wife, causing Nico not wanting to live anymore, letting Ghost take over. That's how it happened.
But don't forget, Nico also has a daughter he conveniently forgets about.
He does, and her name is Miko with an M. So that's not confusing or stupid
Or narcissistic.
but also not narcissistic because
Mini Nico, or Miko for short.
She's like, I just wanted to fill the hole that Mom left. And he's like, no, I don't think you ever could. And then he thinks about it. He's like, well, maybe if I tried harder. And then he dies. It's really depressing. So Ghost is using Nico's body. He's fighting Andy. Ghost becomes like part human, part ghost. And so even though Andy can do this cool astral projection thing, it doesn't do anything to Ghost, because Ghost can also do the cool astral projection thing. Eventually, Nico, like, takes back over and is able to fight Ghost. And Nico's like, take Fuko's soul, which just happens to be, like, living inside of Ghost. And he just chucks it at him. And he's like, just go fix Fuko. You know, I'm just gonna go die here because I'm super depressed and it's time. Leaving his daughter all alone in the world.
To clean up her father's mess.
Yeah, 100%. So, Fuko just happens to be, like, in one of those, like, healing chambers from Dragon Ball Z, like, where the water is, and, like, she's just floating about. Kind of like when you preserve a dead animal.
I was going to say, you pickled.
Yeah, she's a little pickled.
Sealed for freshness.
So, Andy just shoves her soul back into her. She comes alive. She realizes that Andy has just, like, gone on a murdering spree. And now she's really depressed. He's trying to fight back Ruin and Seal, and, like, are just having their asses kicked in the meantime. Tatiana almost dies, and then Billy saves her. It's a whole thing. Eventually, Andy and Fuko get to the round table, and Juice is like, hey, Fuko, we're sending you back. And you find out that, like, the way the arc works is that you have to have the most points. And so, unbeknownst to anybody else, they were gathering points this entire time, and that determined their position on the round table. So, Juice tells Fuko everything. Juice is like, I've been alive a really long time. I've done this so many times. Each time, Victor has had to hang out, like, 4.8 billion years until I've shown up. So he's just been also traumatizing himself. And then at one point, he decided that he was going to end my suffering. And that's when Juice shoved the card into his head, because the card is an artifact named Remember. And it either, like, helps everybody remember everything, or it helps, like, one person forget everything. And it can only be, like, used one way or the other per loop. And so Juice chooses to shove it into Andy's head, or into Victor's head, and then say, I want you to forget everything. So that's why Andy can only remember anything from, like, the 1800s onward. So Juice calls upon the moon, Luna, who is another god, but apparently not the shitty god.
Well, I mean...
Not at that point.
No, at the entire point, because the entire point of this is that she and the other god have a bet going against whether or not humanity wins.
But, I mean, she's on the side of the humans in this very shitty bet.
Right, but if she refused to play...
Yeah, I mean, it's not great. They didn't do a good thing. Anyways. So, Juice tells Luna, she's like, transfer all my points to Fuko. And Luna's like, all right, this is interesting, let's do it. And so Fuko becomes the first seat, the head of the union, right? And then Juice explains like, you're gonna start over, you're gonna get dropped in this like arbitrary spot in the timeline of the next loop. And so Juice says goodbye to Apocalypse, and then they do it. So how Ragnarok starts is that Fuko sits at the table. So she's got to sit there for 11 minutes and watch her friends die while they try to defeat God so that she can take the arc back in order to try to fix it on the next loop. Meanwhile, God is like, not today, Satan. And he starts trying to like make it to where Fuko is so that he can destroy the arc. And meanwhile, like everybody's fighting. So they bring out the big guns. Juice is like, hey, I'm gonna fight this time. She gets a fancy sword. And they also got a fancy shield. And apparently these are like
Aegis is Jason's shield, I believe, that he used to defeat Medusa. Is that the correct shield I'm thinking of?
Yeah, Aegis, it is Athena's shield that she lends to Perseus when he fights Medusa. But that's also the shield that has Medusa's face on it afterwards. It's like a mirrored shield with a Gorgon's face on it in Greek mythology.
she's got her shield, Aegis. She's also got her fancy sword. Meanwhile, the other members of Union and Under are trying to stop God, who we've now found out one god is the sun and one god is the moon. The one that's on the side of the humans is Luna, but like Jordan mentioned, she kind of sucks as well. And I guess they don't say what gender they are. They suck. God sucks. Everybody sucks. So this is where we bring back that earlier discussion of the girl who is apparently unback. She tries to contain God, aka the sun, in a giant egg, which then just like cooks her alive because it's the sun. And that's how Chikara dies because like a sunbeam like hits him in the arm. But he tries to hold on by like kind of like staring at it and trying to keep his unmove available for use. Once the bunny egg thing doesn't work, that's when Juice and Victor are like, all right, today's the day, we're killing God, right? Apparently this sword that Juice has, sword's name is Rebellion, and it is fueled on like vengeance. And so Juice has been saving up like millennia's worth of vengeance for this moment, and she takes the sword and like goes and does like, an epic lunging towards God with this giant sword. Victor's right behind her with the fancy shield. But even though she has all this vengeance saved up, it's not enough to take out God. And she ends up dying. In this moment, Victor like recalls, all their life together. He's super sad, and he's like, oh my God, why do I feel this way? And he's like, I gotta go fuck up God, because now I'm really mad. So Victor then bitch slaps God with the sword. And I don't know, Shen also comes out with his giant stick. You don't really know, like, if God was actually defeated in that loop, because at that moment, Fuko takes the arc back, and then the next loop begins. And that's where I wanted to stop it.
Yeah.
Yeah.
That's when the storyline that storyline ends and the next loop begins.
Yeah.
It will be continued in 2 Undead, 2 Unluck.
It's all good. Does anybody have any hot takes or controversial opinions about Undead Unluck?
I don't like Juice to arc.
Why? I need an explanation for that.
She's so annoying. She's so uptight and like self-righteous. Like, I don't know.
She watched her friends die over and over.
She needs to be like, I don't know. She's very uptight. Also, like,
She needs a girls' night.
she does.
Okay, but she also has learned, like, if you watch your friends die over and over, you learn not to get attached.
That's why she needs the girls' night.
Yeah.
They need to all get together, get some alcohol, and watch Madoka Magica.
No.
Good God.
I also don't really like her power.
Yeah, her power is not well explained. A lot of the powers in this series kind of feel very Calvin Ball, like they're making the rules up as they go.
You're not wrong.
The power scaling in this is not good. Like the magic system, it's not good.
I'm here for the characters. I'm not here for like a technical hard sci-fi. My hot take actually is based off of that, and I know it's weird. I know there's plenty of issues with it, but I genuinely kind of believe the love story of Andy and Fuko. I think it's weird, extremely weird, but like, yeah, I do hope they get their happy ending, and I hope they actually get to. I would love for Andy to be able to grow old with her.
Yeah, I think those two freaks flock together, as they say.
Exactly. Like when they say get someone who matches your freak,
Yeah.
like they are two weirdos who just on their own they're weirdos, but they're a great power couple, and I really like that, and I really am invested in them being able to get together. I think they're cute. I want them to be happy.
In that vein, I think Clothing and Apocalypse would be interesting as a couple.
Ooh,
Yeah,
I ship it.
They're both sassy.
yeah.
Yeah, Apocalypse also needs a little girls' night.
I think Apocalypse would be less bent on destroying the world and like excited to see suffering if he got to hang out with Clothing, the UMA Clothing.
Alongside talking about kind of shipping, I would like to see more of Billy, or like a spin-off with Billy.
I mean, maybe more. So maybe more backstory on him before. So we get a little bit with Tatiana, but
Billy and Tatiana together,
Yeah.
definitely would love that.
I did appreciate how like self-aware this manga was at times. Because one of the like quotes that I wrote down. So this is a shogo manga, correct? Because it's when they are like differentiating like types of manga. This is one that is typically marketed towards teenage girls. But there's a line in it that goes, it's got battles too, so even guys can read it. And I thought that was clever, because there are a lot of battles in this.
Yeah, I would have called this shonen, but let me see what it technically is.
I would have thought it was
talking
shonen.
about it's a shonen manga, but they're talking about a shoujo. This manga is in a boys magazine. It's in a shonen magazine, but the manga that Fuko likes is shoujo, and so she's saying, yeah, it's a shoujo, it's for girls, but it has battles so boys can read it too. One of my favorite things that the manga Berserk does is that despite being ostensibly a, like, you know, it's violent, it's dark, it's gritty, yada yada yada, it is like as stereotypical marketed to guys as it can be. The guy who wrote it straight up said he focused on shoujo manga because he wanted it to use character dynamics and big feelings you would get from a romance story in a shoujo manga rather than like action power scaling. And the fact that the author avatar of this series is a person who writes a shoujo manga like tells me this is a series that's trying to give you the characters with the big feelings and the melodrama, and I do love that.
All right. Who had the best or worst drip? So who had the best and worst outfits?
I'm gonna say Tatiana had the best outfit with the giant robot spear with arms.
Yes.
Like, listen, if I could come into work wearing a giant robot sphere and just float around with like robot arms doing things, I would definitely do that. But you got to understand, everybody in the union has a tie. They're always wearing a tie, and her robot orb is designed with a little tie shape in on the front of it, and so it's not an actual tie, it's just how the robot is shaped, and I love that. I love that they integrate the tie shape into the robot just so it fits everybody else. I love that design.
Yeah, I love her little ball thing.
The poor little bunny girl who is trapped in the bunny costume is now... And then we needed clothing much earlier on for Andy.
Oh yeah, worst drip is the sensor box that they put over Andy when he's not wearing clothes, because whenever he regenerates, he doesn't regenerate clothes, and so they just have like a sensor box over him as just a running joke. It's something I've seen in Deadpool comics actually too.
Jordan kind of touched on this a little bit before, but what were your favorite words or quotes in the comic or manga?
So mine was, your kindness was exploited by God.
Oh.
Yeah, and I believe that's like Victor talking to Jus before he tries to kill her, when she's trying to explain like why she has to keep trying to fix it, for why she has to be the one, because she can't stand for anyone else to do it, because they'd have to go and watch all their friends die over and over.
That goes hard.
Yeah, I mean, it really like encompassed a lot of the comic for me, because it's Fuko is also like trying to be kind to everyone, which is why like she wins against Spring, and how, like, you can see in that battle that the god is trying to go, okay, well, she might be getting a little bit closer, so we're just gonna make this worse.
Mm-hmm.
And it also is a way to keep all of the humans playing the game that the gods want. So it's not just the sun god exploiting it, it's also Luna, because she has to convince the humans to keep playing if she wants to win.
Yeah.
I was going to say, I know this is tonally the opposite, but it's when Chikara, the guy who can stop people by looking at them, he is thinking, because he feels very guilty over his parents' death, but there's a point where he's remembering I believe it's his mother. And it was a comment where she says, "Chai dear, listen to me. You're going to meet a lot of people over the course of your life. Some may even show you kindness. Cherish those people. If they're in trouble, take a moment to pause and then move again to help those people. If you do, I'm certain that every one of those people will become irreplaceable to you," which is what happened. Like, he remembers that when he finally deploys his powers. So I really think that was a cool little speech thing.
Yeah. Again, on the opposite end of the spectrum, I thought it was really funny when they all get together for the first time as like union, and then they're like, "So our big plan is we're gonna kill God." And I just thought that was like, oh, all right.
Yeah.
Shooting for the stars, huh? Better men than you have tried, as Tom likes to say.
That is just such a, like, when you get to that point, you're like, oh, that's what they're doing.
Yeah.
Okay. Oh, I will say also, Andy just saying to Gina, like, a few wrinkles ain't going to change how beautiful you are, when she's talking about, like, all of her... It's mostly just that line, because she has this whole speech about her wishing for permanence and hating time progressing and wishing she could pause things.
Tom,
And, like, that was him saying that at the end of the speech was really cute.
you also believe it's cute? Because I believe these other two did not think it was cute. Because I thought it was adorable.
I think especially with the context of her speech about how, like, because she has an entire long speech, which I don't have the quote for, but it's it's going over their entire fight with Gina back in the very, very beginning of the series, about her thinking she used to like change, but she really just wishes to keep things the same. And then him saying, like, nah, when you have a person who's intellectualizing and talking about all these things in big ways, and then you got the guy who's, like, not nearly that intelligent, it's just like, yeah, you're being a dummy, you're pretty. I'm like, I don't know. I find it cute. I find it cute.
Mm-hmm. All right. And then, how did media adapt this particular story or character or arc, or how should they? So, Kirsten, or actually everybody, if this was to be adapted into, like, maybe a live action or something, or actually we could talk about the anime here.
There is an anime, yeah.
Yeah, there is an anime. Okay, we could talk about that too. I don't know if we've seen it. I know Kirsten has.
I've not seen the whole anime. I like it, but the issue with a lot of adaptations of manga, especially when you have, like, very weird and surreal style, when things get weird, you don't have that level of detail and that level of, like, personality when you have things move. And so it's kind of like, it is an interesting thing to watch the Undead Unluck manga and be like, or manga, anime, watch the anime and be like, oh, okay, this is when they decided, they thought this part was worth having the extra heavy budget for the animation, versus this is when they kind of were like, okay, we're going to subtract some money from this, have it be a little bit more stripped down, so we can have the bigger budget animation scenes, because it's not always for fight scenes, and that's very interesting to me.
So, Kirsten, how did you think that the anime did with, like, adapting the manga?
Well, here's the problem. Tom, did you watch the anime after you read the manga?
After, yes.
So I watched the anime before I read the manga. So
Okay.
I am biased in that I loved the anime.
Oh, it's still a good show. Like, I'm not, I don't mean to say that. I'm just saying, like, when you read the manga first, there is fun to be had, and it's good. It's just, there's so much, like, the kids call it aura, I call it personality. There's just so much in how characters are framed and shown. And when you have an animated show, that has to have an entire team of people who all agree on how stuff is supposed to look and kind of unites everything. And so while it's not bad by any stretch of the means, it's still good. It's just you don't have the level of detail. And I really love the manga art when it starts getting into weirder stuff, especially like when Victor shows up for the first time. That's fascinating. Like, just the amount of detail in, like, this is the same character, but we're going to make him look as different as possible while also make him look exactly the same. It's like, it's very fun. That's what stood out to me.
Yeah, I'll agree. They didn't... When Victor showed up in the manga, it's, like, far more epic than it was in the anime.
Yeah. That said, I do love the way they do Andy regenerating. The way he regenerates in the anime, I'm like... There's a point where he's just, like, completely rebuilding himself, and I'm just like, yeah, that's what I wanted this, like, that is what you need to have it look like to sell this story. Because if you don't, then people are not going to be nearly as invested in, like, what he does and why he does it. But I think this should be adapted as a stage musical.
Oh my god.
Very Rogers the Musical.
What?
Yes, exactly like Rogers the Musical.
I support it, and we should all go see it. Okay. Recommendations. Who has recommendations for if our listeners enjoyed this manga? What would you point them to next?
Probably Hunter x Hunter, honestly. We've mentioned it many times. We've circled around it. But, like, if you want crazy powers, good action, all that, with a strong character, that's going to be one of the big ones. My Hero Academia is good. It does have one of the worst characters that you ever have to deal with, but he's only in there part of the time. When he's not around, there's a lot of really good stuff going on. I go with those. If you're looking for something about a council of weirdos who are all trying to figure out how the universe works and stuck in a looping cycle, it's a bit different, but Wicked of the Divine, which is about a series of gods from mythology who are being reincarnated in different cycles. And each time they do, they're like whatever would be like a major celebrity or equivalent during their time. And it starts there, but then it gets even weirder, which is kind of the big thing that Undead Unluck does, which is just, oh yeah, you start out with that, and then it gets crazier and crazier until they're fighting God. And in this, Wicked of the Divine, same thing. It gets crazier and crazier, but they were already gods, so it gets even weirder.
Would you guys say that Dragon Ball Z would be a recommendation?
I wouldn't. Just because, like,
Okay.
Dragon Ball Z doesn't have, like, the fun element that Undead Unluck has. Like, Dragon Ball Z takes itself way too seriously.
Dragon Ball Z is not the original series. It is a sequel series to the original Dragon Ball, which does have more comedy in it. It is also a bit different from what the series would become. It's much more of a fantasy series. Dragon Ball Z, if that's the thing you're used to, if you're familiar with it, that is much more of a sci-fi bend to it, because it's designed, like, it's taking a sequel series and going in kind of a different direction. So that's my one issue with recommending Dragon Ball Z or Dragon Ball, is like this. This one is full fantasy, so you could probably do Dragon Ball. I mean, it's skewed more for younger audiences compared to Undead Unluck, which is very clearly a series for adults. But, I mean, it's one of those seminal manga anime things. Like, it fundamentally is like how and why a lot of things look the way they do. So
It just reminded me of the kind of arc with like a lot of like battles that took a long time to get through.
Yes. Oh yeah, no, decompressed storytelling, large battles, people getting progressively more powerful.
Right.
Going up to space. Like, those tropes are definitely things that got brought in through Dragon Ball Z. Like, that is, they're not the first, but they are the most popular. It was a whole phenomenon in the 90s. And I will always remember people freaking out and saying, this show's too hyperactive for kids, because they saw the opening, which is the most action that show ever has, because it's so decompressed. A lot of the show is just, and then we're going to check in on this character. Yep, they are taking a breath after getting hit. And then we're going to go to another area, and yep, they are still asking Shenron for help. And we're going to go over here, and yep, they are still unconscious. So, it's like that. That's what the show was like because of how decompressed.
Yeah. All right. Any other recommendations?
I have a bunch.
Oh, yeah.
Excellent.
But there's, like, a lot of caveats with them.
That's all right.
So, I would say Dan is a very comparable series, in that, like, there's a lot of crazy things happening, there's some power scaling. For the most part, nobody's taking themselves too seriously, and there's, like, a slight romantic undertone to it. So, I would definitely say, like, all of Dan. I would also say only the first part of Jujutsu Kaisen. Just season 1. Just stop there after season 1. Don't go any further. If you go further, you will be sad. But like the first part, like it's still fun. Everybody's happy for the most part. It's a good time, right?
I feel like that towards My Hero Academia. Like, it gets real sad.
Oh yeah.
That's why I like when they're like new students, like up until kind of like before Midoriya goes away.
Before it becomes a war.
Exactly. Yes.
I'd say Soul Eater's a good one if you want like less murder and blood.
I love that the Soul Eater show is the one that's less murder and blood.
Surprisingly, yes. I mean, Andy loses a lot of body parts. At one point,
You're right. You're entirely right. It's just very funny.
Like, at one point, he's just, like, skin, bone, and blood just floating about. So, I don't know. Okay, and then my big caveat, and just, like, hear me out here, okay? I really like Hellsing. There is a better part of Hellsing. So, like, you have to watch the original. Tom knows where I'm going. You have to watch the original. It follows, like, vampires, you have Alucard, people are immortal, and like weird things are happening, right? Like it's really good. You watch the original first, okay? You get like the serious aspects of it, and then once you've absorbed that and you're like, this was a really good show, then immediately afterwards, you go watch Hellsing Abridged. Just immediately afterwards. And they just take like everything that was serious in that show and just immediately make it funny. And like I think that progression turns it into like what Undead Unluck really did for me, which was have like serious undertones but just have like a layer of humor all over it. So unfortunately you need both for Hellsing.
It's Hellsing Ultimate Abridged.
Oh,
that's
bad.
by Team 4-Star.
Yes.
No, you're good. I just want to make sure that we know which, because I guarantee you there's some other guy who does this.
So good. So good. When all the Catholic priests are lining up to like do their one last stand, does everybody know what like the Spanish priesthood looks like? What
Yes,
their getup
yeah,
is?
I know what it looks like,
Okay.
and that's why.
But does Jordan and Kate know before I do this?
No.
Okay, hold on.
It's a real Spanish priest uniform.
Oh
This
my
is a
God.
real uniform. It's just the writer and artist is like, yeah, I'm going to have the Catholic vampire hunters.
Okay, so this is what they look like.
Standing there.
No.
Yes, 100%. So all the Catholic priests are out there. They're getting ready to make their last stand, and then all of a sudden the KKK shows up, and they're like, "Yeah, guys!" And they're like, "Wait, we might be in the wrong. This might be the wrong group."
Yeah. Wait. Are we the baddies?
I mean, that'd be one way to get rid of them, right?
God, no. That is it is in Hellsing Ultimate Abridged. It's just like, wait a second. Maybe there's something wrong with our plan, and maybe we need to rethink some things.
If nobody else has anything they would like to say, I will wrap us up. Thank you for joining us on Bite Me Fanboy, a comics podcast. If you enjoyed the show, don't forget to subscribe, leave a review, and share it with your fellow comic fans. Also, please consider supporting us via Patreon, where you can listen to episodes before they go live and unlock special bonus content. We will see you next time. Bye.
Bye, guys.